Hello, welcome to this video. This is a new setup and it's kind of the first time that I've filmed a video like this. So today we're going to be chatting a bit about the kind of just things that have been going on in my life in the last few weeks. It's been very busy, and I guess this is maybe like a little crossover podcast YouTube moment because I'm hoping to try and get both of them up and running. It might take me a little bit of time because there's a lot going on at the moment, as I'll get into. But yeah, I'm now officially living in London and have been here for about almost 4 weeks now, which has just honestly flown by. I've been doing my job for 3 weeks and I can't quite believe it. It's honestly going so quickly. But this is something that I've wanted to do for a while, as you will have heard me say a million times in previous videos if you've watched those. And I'm very excited. I'm really excited that I'm actually sat here filming, recording this. Yeah, it feels like the start of something that really feels quite good at this phase in my life. It feels like something that I've been building confidence towards for quite a while, and so to actually be here, like sat recording in my new room in London with a new job, just feels, yeah, like everything's kind of come together and it's the start of a new chapter. So I hope you're excited. I definitely am. I've got a few notes here, so if you catch me kind of looking down, then that is why. But in short, I'm just going to have a little ramble, get back into the kind of podcast style of talking. I feel very BBC News with this little microphone here. Normally, this is my podcast microphone, and normally I have it in a little stand, but I thought I'd be one of those YouTube girlies and have it as a handheld one. So that's very fun. So I thought that I would do a little intro because this might be a video that people click on and they have absolutely no idea who I am. So hi, I'm Lucy. Thank you for being here and joining this little corner of the internet. I'm very excited to kind of build it and for it to be a kind of space that I can use as a creative outlet, something that is going to help me to grow and, you know, all of that fun stuff. And I hope that you enjoy coming along for the ride. Essentially, I'm 23 and graduated from Uni of Nottingham last summer, so summer of 2023. And then since then went travelling around, you know, the typical backpacker route around Southeast Asia and Australia, which was so good. A lot of ups and downs along that travel trip, but I vlogged all of that. So if you're interested in seeing a little bit more of that side of things, then go check out those videos. I'll leave it in a playlist, one of those corners. And then since being back, myself and my girlfriend Freya lived at Freya's parents' house for like 6-7 months whilst we were job hunting, saving up money again. And I think how I'd sum up that period of time is just a lot of uncertainty, but also a lot of fun. I really did enjoy coming back to a slower pace, being back in the UK, kind of, you know, building up little habits and routines. I'm definitely a creature of habit, and that is when I feel most settled and most like able to, yeah, just feel happy in the little moments. I find a lot of joy in little things. So it's been really nice to have those kind of 6-7 months of taking it a bit slower, building up that savings pot again slowly, and I feel really lucky to have been able to do that. We then both kind of miraculously got jobs at the same time. So we've moved into this house with 2 separate rooms, and it's all gone well so far. It's gone really, really well. Like I said, 3 weeks into my job, which has honestly flown by, but everyone's very, very nice. It's definitely one of those situations when you start a new job and you think you kind of have a sense of what it's going to be like. And then the more time you spend there, the more you do, the more you realise how much more there is to know. I think there's like a little graph that I'll put on the screen, which kind of shows the scale of when you feel like you know something compared to when you actually know something. And essentially, the more you dive into a topic, into an area, I found this with my degree as well, the more you realise how much more there is to know, and it kind of opens you up to all of the other things that are going on. So that's been my experience the last few weeks, but I do feel like I'm slowly finding my feet and getting to know like how people interact in the office and all of those kind of etiquette things that you don't really know what it's going to be like until you get there. But everyone is very friendly, very, very nice. So I'm definitely grateful for that. London is great. I really do feel quite at home in this city. I've spent a lot of time in London. It's definitely the city in the UK, apart from Nottingham, that I know the best, just because I've lived fairly close to London all my life, and it's just been a place that I've always kind of gravitated towards. I spent a lot of time here in third year of uni, and just going back and forth throughout my degree, like it just seemed to be a place where things would be going on, or you know, a place that I would choose to go to spend my time. So yeah, I feel like I know my way around. Obviously not everywhere, but central London, you know, getting on the tube and everything, that feels quite comfortable and familiar to me. It's not something that I feel like I need to really adjust to that much, but I guess it's just the whole experience of being in a full-time 9 to 5 job and adjusting to a new place. But yeah, generally feeling pretty good. There's definitely a lot of things to do, and it kind of feels a bit like overwhelming with how much there is to do that you just don't necessarily have the time to do in the week. So then the weekends I feel a bit of an urge to pack loads in and get to do cool things, which is nice. I do enjoy that, and I think I find more fulfillment when I have more plans and more stuff going on, more like social plans, and even just like little solo dates, going out and seeing the city and experiencing things, going to art galleries, whatever it might be. I'm excited to have that time at the weekends to be able to just literally do whatever you like. And that is the perk of 9 to 5. There's definitely a sense of your time not being fully your own in the week, but then at the weekend your time's completely your own. So that is very nice, and especially coming from doing, you know, customer service jobs where you're probably working the weekends, quite a lot of weekends, which has been fine, but sometimes you can feel like you're a little bit out of sync with other people, and so socializing becomes a bit harder because the time when you're off is not necessarily in sync with other people, like friends, etc. So that part is going to be really nice. I'm excited to be able to switch off on a Friday, and I've already like really enjoyed doing this. Not that I'm not enjoying my job, I am genuinely finding it very fun and very interesting. But that feeling on a Friday where you can just shut the desk up and switch off, turn everything off, and have like 2 complete days to yourself and to do whatever you like with, that is really nice. Those are my little life updates, and so now I'm going to go into a bit more like things that I've been thinking and feeling. A quote that I found the other day, actually, she's called Maya Raikora. I don't know how you pronounce her last name, but I'm really hoping to go to one of her events in a few weeks' time. She does like visualization for businesses, you know, thought leaders, whatever, but it's open to the public, so I might try and go along. I've been wanting to go for a while because, yeah, I've like been a fan of her work for a while, but she's an amazing kind of visualization expert. And basically on one of her posts the other day, she said that overthinking is the direct result of underfeeling. And I don't know why, because when I said this to Freya, she was like, well, obviously. So maybe you feel like that too. But to me, that was such like a little light bulb moment. I'm such a big overthinker. If you know me in person, you all know this. But I overthink a lot. And especially in the last few days, I think it's to do with my cycle as well. Like the few days before my period, my God, I'm way more anxious, so much more of an overthinker. But yeah, just generally, I think I fall prey to overthinking a lot. And so this was kind of like a little light bulb moment, because it kind of pointed out to me that you know, coping mechanism of my brain to come up with solutions, to come up with, you know, reasons around the way that I'm feeling was the thing that I was focusing on. But really the layer below that and how you're feeling is the trigger, and is the thing that I should really focus on, because it's all very well trying to tell yourself to shut up and to try and quieten those thoughts, which does help, but I guess it's not necessarily the root cause of that. And that kind of shifting was very interesting. So that's what I've been mostly thinking about the last few days, is the idea that overthinking is a direct result of under feeling. And so I've been trying to like embrace that whenever I feel myself starting to, you know, ruminate on various thoughts, take a step back and just actually notice, how am I feeling right now? And it sounds like so simple and so obvious, but for some reason that was not obvious to me. So yeah, that's kind of something that I'm trying to do a little bit more of. And when I think back to, like I mentioned, we went traveling. I don't want to be one of those people that is like, oh, back when we went on our travels. But I found it quite difficult and quite overwhelming a lot of the time. I was very anxious for most of that trip. And I think a lot of that was because I didn't necessarily have the time that I needed or the space that I needed to let myself feel all of the emotions that were coming up. There's a lot of things that are happening, and so yeah, I just think I didn't, especially at the start, leave myself enough time to feel and to let myself just feel whatever that was and act on it as well. Sometimes I tried to just push it away and ignore the anxiety, but that doesn't work. So yeah, it was an interesting little shift, and I think it's true. I think it's definitely true. So cue feeling all of the emotions a lot more. Yeah, that's going to be fun. Something else that I really think is going to be important in this next chapter of my life is creating a really strong sense of self. And that can be quite hard to pin down. I think at a point in time, I didn't even know that I didn't have a sense of self, if that makes sense. I was reflecting this morning because it's been 5 years today since I met all of my closest friends when we all met on the first day of uni. So yeah, 5 years since I first started uni, which honestly just makes me feel kind of old because that doesn't feel like that long ago. But I do feel like quite a different person. I feel like when I was 18, I wouldn't describe myself as underconfident. I think I was, fairly well-rounded as a person and enjoyed kind of that opportunity to meet new people at the start of uni. But I think there's a big difference between that version of myself and the version of myself now. And I think a lot of that is because I really didn't have a strong sense of self. I would very much go with the flow of what other people wanted to do and just didn't really have like a source of intuition that I would tap into, which I do think I'd have for the most part now. And it's interesting to notice. It's kind of the same as what I was talking about earlier. Until you realise that you're not self-aware, you don't necessarily know because you don't have that self-awareness. And when I was 18 starting uni, I did not have the same level of self-awareness by any stretch. And that, has a knock-on effect in your relationships and the way that you meet new people, the kind of things that you like to do. And I think especially now that I'm living in a new city and in a full-time job, I definitely want to keep creating that sense of self and not let it kind of slip and just stay in the same version of myself that I am now, or that I was like this time last year, for example. I think I did a lot of, growing in the years from starting uni to finishing uni, a lot. And I don't want to kind of become stagnant. I still want to, try new things and meet new people. And most importantly, be myself when I'm meeting those new people. I think there's a big difference in how I used to interact with people. I used to just, very much have this kind of mask and without realizing it even, just go along with things. And so that doesn't feel too good to me now. That feels like, following the crowd regardless. And I want to be a bit more intentional, and I do feel like I have a much better idea of who I am and what I want to do. And so the key now, I think, is actually translating that from that inner understanding of who I am into how I show up in the world. And that's the part that requires quite a lot of confidence, and that's the part that I wouldn't say struggling with, but trying to work on at the moment. It's like translating the inner confidence building that I've been doing into actually applying that in conversations with the new people, not kind of shying away from talking about things that I'm passionate about or talking about my interests, which is very hard to do. And it's very easy, I think, to just slot back into the old, patterns and the old habits that you've had when you're meeting new people and interacting. And I think each time you do that, it becomes a little bit easier. You're gently expanding that comfort zone of letting the inner you kind of show on the outside. And so yeah, that's like what I really want to work on, because I don't want to be the sort of person that has friendships that are only surface level and that don't feel that fulfilling. I want to have good conversations, honest conversations, and just to feel like I'm being myself and kind of stripping back all of that self-judgment for that. So anyway, that's a long-winded way of saying that I really want to work on my sense of self. And what I keep going back to in these kind of conversations that I have in my own head is that I think the key to this for me, which is probably different for everyone, but I think for me the key to this is expressing myself creatively. Because if I can practice that kind of expression of self in creative things like the YouTube channel, the podcast, photography, even just, you know, in how I'm expressing myself creatively, then I really think that it can have such a big ripple effect in the rest of your life and how you show up to conversations with other people and just the kind of person that you are in the world. So yeah, I think what it all comes down to really is that the only way to genuinely change your life is to change your life, and that kind of comes from action rather than just thoughts and feelings. In order for me to change my life, that comes down to actively working on creative projects. So yeah, hi. I'll be sticking around, I guess. Anyway, thank you very much for watching this video. If you have any suggestions for video ideas that you want to see in London, for different topics that you want me to talk about, I'm all ears, honestly. I would love to hear your suggestions. And if you enjoyed this video, then subscribe. That would be amazing. I'm really, really keen to put more energy into this and to try and fit it into my routine so that it does happen. So yeah, any ideas are very welcome, and I will see you very soon in a new video. I think I'll be making a little intro to London, first episode of the London Diaries kind of series, little vlogs essentially, pretty soon. So stay tuned for that. Thank you very much if you've got all the way to the end. If you do, leave me a little blue heart emoji in the comments. And yeah, I'll see you very soon. Lots of love.